All right. Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. Um, you're all here today because you hopefully want to learn about the GRE, specifically the quantitative section of the GRE. Let me just brief you about what this webinar is going to be about. So we are joined by Mr. Taimoor Khalid, and Mr. Taimoor Khalid has been awarded the Fulbright scholarship previously. So he is a great reference today for all of you to learn through. The GRE is a exam which is necessary for the Fulbright scholarship. You cannot apply for the GRE. Sorry, you cannot apply for the Fulbright scholarship without giving the GRE. So it's mandatory. Other than that, if you are majoring in a field like STEM or business or economics or mathematics, which, well, that comes under STEM, then a GRE score may help you secure a better scholarship. A strong GRE score may help you secure a better scholarship if you're applying independently to a university. So, nevertheless, a GRE score is always helpful to better your graduate applications. Now I'm gonna quickly just introduce Education USA and USEFP, and then I'll hand it off to Mr. Taimoor. So what is Education USA? Education USA is a global network under the US Department of State made up of over 425 international student advising centers in more than 175 countries. We are your official source to US higher education. Advisors work with advisees to provide updated, comprehensive, and unbiased information on higher education in the United States. In Pakistan, we are part of the USCFP, the United States Educational Foundation in Pakistan, which is also the Fulbright Commission in the country. USEFP promotes mutual understanding between the people of Pakistan and the people of the United States through educational and cultural exchange. We have offices in Islamabad, Lahore, and Karachi, but we're available to any student who needs advising virtually throughout Pakistan. Other than advising, USEFP also has a programs department which administers fully funded programs, including the Fulbright Scholarship. You can find more information about our fully funded programs on our website, www.usefp.org. With that, Taimoor, thank you very much for being with us this evening, for sharing your expertise on the GRE. I would like to hand it over to you now. Thank you very much again.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you, Education USA and USAFP for this. Uh, Again, I'm really sorry. I have to do this from office, so pardon any noise if that comes up. And like if you have any questions, just raise your hand, just type in chat. I'll also try to accommodate questions at the end. Okay, let me just start. Okay. So my name is Hafiz Mohammad Taimoor Khalid. I currently work at Special Investment Facilitation Council, SIFC, as the Deputy Director of Investment Promotion. I got Fulbright 2 years ago in September 2024. I graduated from the University of Chicago in public policy. I did master's in public policy with a specialization in energy and environment policy. So I got into a couple of other universities too. So you might know that in master's, you get a chance to apply to 4 universities. In PhD, there are 6. So let's start. I'll start with, this is the sequence of today. So I'll start like, what is Fulbright? You already know that. And obviously Education USA will cover that and where GRE fits in. Then we'll talk about the importance of GRE and why should we try to score high. And then like this today, the presentation is focused on GRE Quant. Tomorrow, we're going to focus on GRE Verbal. And then obviously at the end, if you have any journal questions, any questions related to GRE Quant, GRE or Fulbright, I'm more than happy to answer them. Okay. So Fulbright is kind of a whole of application approach that I call it. Where like in the center, you see Fulbright FB, and then your study objectives, your SOP, your reference letters, and your GRE score all of these culminate and are like the main things that the Fulbright panel looks at when they are selecting you and shortlisting you. So GRE, I don't know, like around like 10%, 20%, it matters. Main focus is always on your study objectives and statement of purpose. But at the end, it's like a whole, like they see people as a candidate, like how is this person suitable as a candidate or not? Obviously, they take people from academia, public sector, private sector, it doesn't matter. And like it's mentioned in the application that they prefer people from education in impoverished areas. There are certain areas of education that are preferred, like climate change, water, and things like that. And obviously, women are much encouraged to apply. Issues and challenges, just like one moment on that. So the thing is that the best uh, thing that they're looking for is they need people that have a good story. Okay, so like it everything fits in, all the right pieces come together. This is what you were, this is like what you are right now, and how can the Fulbright and obviously Pakistan can benefit from you. So like how can you benefit from Fulbright? What can you provide that other candidates can't, or like other people? And how can Fulbright benefit from you? So like when you're done with Fulbright and you come back to your host country, Pakistan, so you sign a bond, like you will be here for like 2 years. How, at least in Pakistan, back in Pakistan, how will this country benefit from you? So this is what matters, and this is what they're looking for. And it's a like wholesome application that matters. Uh, it's just like two process. You get shortlisted, and then there is interviews. If you're done with interviews, then you're like either put in as a principal candidate or as a alternate candidate. They are very like the interviews. Like I've given. I'm a civil servant, so I've given like CSS interviews too. But believe me when I say this, that Fulbright interviews are really like one of a kind. So like they're really, they do deep dive into your application and like what you're planning to study. Okay. So now coming to the important topic of today, GRE at a glance. Uh, like if you're attending this, you should know this, that GRE got changed in 2023. Previously, like it was a longer version. So it was reduced from 3 hours and 45 minutes to 1 hour and 58 minutes. This is the GRE that you take now. There are certain administrative and logistic changes too. Like now, GRE scores are delivered in 8 to 10 days instead of like 10 to 15 previous days that it took. There is a significant reduction in the number of questions. They have eliminated an unscored section. There were like 5 sections before. One was unscored, and they have now they have removed one of them. So there is no argument essay section. Uh, they have also omitted the 10-minute break that existed, and they have reduced the number of questions from 40 to 27 in each sections. So like in the 2 sections previously, there were 40 questions. Now there are only 27 of quant and verbal each. Okay. So this is just like tabular form of what I just explained. So previously, quantitative reasons had 2 sections of 40 questions. Now there are 27 total questions. One section has 12, and another one has 15. Same goes for verbal. That timing is right in front of that. So like in the first section for quant, we're talking quant now. So in the first section of quant, there will be 12 questions of 21 minutes. In the second portion, there will be 15 questions and 26 minutes will be given for each question. So the number of minutes per question hasn't changed, it's just similar. Only the number of questions has reduced. Okay. This also means that like there'll be, since after you're done with one section of each of these, the second question, the difficulty level is judged from the previous one, like how you have performed. So like if you perform really well in the first question, in the first portion, you'll get a really difficult second portion. If you perform really poorly in the first portion, you'll get relatively easy questions in the second portion, but then there is a ceiling. So like there are person A and person B. Person A performs really well in the first portion. He scores like brilliantly and does every question really well. In the second portion, he will be given really tough questions. If he like does 70% of them wrong, he'll still score higher than this person too, who did really poorly in the first section, but did like each one of the questions in portion was right. He did all of them correctly. He will still score lower than this person A. I hope that is clear. So like your second portion comes from your from how have you performed in the first portion. Okay. Okay, now let's deep dive into the question types for quant. So I've done I do have prepared some uh question types. We'll delve into that, and then we'll also do some examples. And then at the end, I'll try to keep like 15 minutes there for like, I do know that this is every candidate has a lot of questions. And I don't know why I can't look at my screen right now, but like because it's a webinar probably, but like if there are Q&A, I'll take them too, hopefully. And like at the end of this presentation, you'll have my contact. If you have any other further questions, you can shoot me there. You can shoot me an email. Okay, so there are 4 question types of quant. Number 1 is quantitative comparison. Most of the questions do come from here. So like a lot of questions in the GRE quant portion is like where you'll be comparing two answer quantities and selecting the correct relationship. There will be some questions from like there'll be some multiple choice where you only get to choose one answer. There is one correct option. Then there is a multiple choice where there are multiple correct answers, and you need to select all of those correct answers. Then there is a numeric entry portion where it's relatively very like less, like 5%, probably a couple of questions only. Where okay, I do see some hand raised, so you can like I'm like the chat is in front of me. If you want to share your question in the chat, I'm happy to do that. If you want to speak, I don't know, like uh if you
So I'll go ahead and just address the audience in terms of Q&A. So if anyone has any questions, then there's a Q&A box at the bottom. You can quickly just have a look at there and open it up just to see what it looks like. You can type your questions in the Q&A box, and if you want them, you can answer them at the end, or if you want to answer them in the middle, up to you, whatever is more streamlined and more efficient.
I'm happy either way. So like if you want to stop me in a portion and just like if there is a relevant question regarding that, please just stop me and say that this is the question in Q&A. I'm happy to answer that. Either way, like it's totally fine for me. No problem. Okay. So I'll continue. Numeric entry is where you need to type an answer. Instead of choosing an option, you need to type a number uh, in. Okay, so there is one Q&A. Which GRE subject should I take? Okay, so it's like administrative things. I don't know about that. I guess it is journal for everyone. How to register for GRE cost? I don't know. you register it from the ETS website, but like cost and everything, I have no knowledge about the cost. I'm sure Education USA can explain better about that.
Yes,
Okay, so
$200.
there is, yes, please.
$200 is the cost for the GRE.
Okay, perfect. So $200 is the cost for GRE. Pawan says, is there a minimum criteria for GRE scores? No. Very good question. So Fulbright does not have a minimum threshold. Usually they say like if you have uh, some, like for example, if you are an engineering candidate and you are doing masters in uh, engineering or like in mechanical engineering, probably there'll be some threshold of 300. But like GRE for most people, for like most applicants, is just like a, if you're done GRE, you're good for Fulbright. So there is like, if you have low score, that is important when it comes to choosing universities. Okay, that is where your score comes up. So like if you have a GRE of 300 with like 150 in each questions, you can't get into MIT, right? You can't get into Harvard's most prestigious programs with a GRE of 300. Okay. Okay. Do we have an option of paper-based? I don't believe they have an answer of paper-based right now. Okay. So I'll continue. So, okay. How do I? So, okay. The first question types of like GRE quant is arithmetic. So, these are the kind of questions that you can expect in arithmetic. So there'll be like number properties, uh, you need to know like odd numbers, even numbers, divisibility, remainders, things like that, all the operations, fractions, decimals, percentages, ratio and proportions, absolute value and number line concepts, and powers and roots. Okay, so would you have any other questions? Differentiate a line between GRE journal and GRE subject. I don't know about GRE subject. I believe GRE journal, like you need to like Google this. How many attempts can we give in a year? I think you can give a GRE after like 21 days. You can give a GRE like 12 times in a year, I believe, if I'm not wrong, or you can just Google that too. But like each one costs $200. So like better to prepare for a month or two for one GRE attempt. If someone like me has a weak math background, please guide me. Okay, sure. I'll guide Summer. I'll explain that at the end. Don't worry. I want to apply for PhD. Should I take GRE? So like which GRE should you take is usually mentioned in, if you open GRE tab and like ETS website. It's just like a Google question. How to access GRE preparation? Yeah. So GRE preparation is usually from like once you register, there are I'll mention the preparation material at the end too. Don't worry about that. Arithmetic is from basic mathematics or advanced? Good question, Yasin. So the thing is like it starts from basic, but like if you perform really well, you'll go to advanced. So like if you are if you started doing good in your exam, then the advanced stage comes up. Can only one attempt at max 5 times in a year? I don't know. So like you can, I believe you can give it after 21 days, but you don't want to spend $1,000 on GRE only, right? So like each one costs $200. You don't want to spend $1,000 on that. Prepare well, take it one time because it's valid for 5 years. So put like an effort of 2 months into GRE and then take it. What is the minimum GRE? I just told you there is no GRE minimum score. Usually, like if you are into specific programs, so like if you are into you're doing masters in mathematics, or like masters in engineering, you'll be expected a minimum GRE score in if it's mentioned in the Fulbright uh, uh the Fulbright vouch brochure that has the application thing. If not, like if you're doing masters in public policy, if you're doing masters in public health, if you're doing masters in arts, there is no GRE minimum score for you to get into Fulbright. You can score as low as you want. The only thing that is required from you is a GRE. Okay. So I answered 15. Let's go now. Okay, let's go. So these are arithmetic, and let's do one example if we can. Okay, so this is really important. So like these are the questions that are expected from you in Fulbright, sorry, in GRE. So say for example, this question comes up where there are two columns. Column A is 2001 divided by 3001. Column B is 2 by 3. And the question will be A, B, like is which one is greater? Is A greater? Is B greater? Are two quantities equal, or the relationship cannot be determined from the information given? This is just like an example of like a GRE example question. So what you need to do is you do have a calculator, a computer calculator allowed. Note, you can take it with you. You are allowed an on-screen calculator. But the main issue with GRE verbal and quant is time management. You don't have enough time to manage these questions if you start using calculator all the time. So what you need is you need to be quick. You need to be like real quick, and you need to master these divisibility concepts. So what you do easily is like you compare these two quantities. So you multiply both of the quantities with 3001 so that it makes our calculation easier. The left one has only 2001 left, and then 3001 comes up on the other side of column column B. Then you multiply both of these sides with 3. At the end, the column A comes out to be 6003, column B comes out to be 6002. Column A is greater, the answer is A. So other than this, there are like 1,000 ways to solve this. You can simply see like 2000 divided by 3000 is equal to 2 by 3. But if you add the same quantity 1 to both of these, then the answer will automatically be greater since 2 is smaller than 3. This is another way to solve this. Then the other way to solve this is simply typing 2001 divided by 3001 in your on-screen calculator. But like it requires time. So you just need to be like real fast when you're doing this. Okay, so I'll do the practice example 2, and then we'll move on to questions. Like I'll see the question box after that. So the practice example 2 is this difficult question where like you have a number 0.625 multiplied by zero point 0.4 and squared. And then column B has 1.25 multiplied by zero point 0.05. And the question is A greater, column B greater, or the two quantities are equal? Again, one way to solve this is using on-screen calculator, but then it will require a lot of time, and you're short on time on GRE. If you simply know that 0.625 is 5 by 8, and I will encourage you to learn these divisibility things like 0.4 equals 2 by 5. 0.625 is 5 by 8. 0.8 equals 6 by 8. So just like learn these journal divisibility things. 1.25 is 5 by 4. 0.05 is 5 over 100. So just like when you prepare for GRE Quant, you need to have these things on your fingertips. And I'll at the end, I'll share the strategy. So like if you have any questions and you're allowed to speak, please do. Otherwise, do type a question in the Q&A box and I'll come back to that. So like once you substitute these things, the answer on both sides, it comes out to be 1 over 16. So the correct answer would be the two quantities are equal. Okay, let's look at Q&A box. Any discount code for GRE? So like Fulbright doesn't give any discount on GRE, but like I do remember that like if you're selected for Fulbright, they do reimburse GRE fee for like some number of candidates, but not for everyone. Like I didn't get that option. Okay, so if I have 16 years, can I apply for PhD? I believe you can't, but like do check with USEFP, because if I'm not wrong, like for after 16 years of education, if you're going through Fulbright, you might need 18 years of education instead of a direct PhD application. If you apply directly, Education USA can guide in a better way. But like for Fulbright, I don't know. Like it's better is if you just like ask USEFP. Kindly share the slides in the end. Sure, okay. I'll share my slides with the Education USA and hopefully they can. Okay, let's move forward. So arithmetic was one portion. Another portion that you need to focus on GRE Quant is algebra. So this involves like linear equations, inequalities. It also involves like solving for x, like finding a particular number, quadratic equations, like factoring using the quadratic formula, functions, uh, all these word problems. So like you might be asked the same like what we did question column A and column B, but like in a word format. So like you'll be asked word problems where you'll be translating real life scenarios into equation, and then exponents and radicals. Okay. Uh, is there any Q&A? Okay. I don't have strong quant skills. Can I still make it? Obviously, Sadika, you can. I just explained like you just need good GRE scores for Fulbright. You don't need exceptional GRE scores for Fulbright. Okay, GRE is just one of the many things that Fulbright looks at when they select you. Your SOP, your statement of purpose, your study objectives are much important, and your application as a whole is looked at. Your GRE is just one thing. Practice it, because like it's like you don't want to pay $200 every month. Just like give it once, but do prepare for a month or two for this GRE. Okay. Question one, Abdul Bari. Can I have this slide? Of course. Question. I have completed a bachelor in science. Recently earned my MBA from university. Okay, through online distance. I would like to inquire if you are eligible for a PhD program. I believe if you are eligible, I think so. You should be, but like probably asked you Education USA. I'm not member of like I'm just a guy who got Fulbright. So like I do know general question of Fulbright. I don't know if I would be able to answer administrative questions. I just came the FAQ that says a candidate may be ineligible if they hold a US degree obtained in the. You're right. If you obtain like one US degree in 5 years, you're not. Abdul Bari, I think I'll refer this question to USEFP and Education USA. I think they can answer it in a better way. I don't know. I don't know about that. 170 marks in each question or not. You are right, Asif. So like in quant and in verbal, so each portion is 170 marks each, and the maximum score is 170. You're also given a percentile. The minimum you can score is 140 or 130, I believe. So like you can't score 130, I guess, is the minimum score. So you can't score less than 130. Is CGPA of master matter for PhD? Nita, it's a whole application that matters. If you have a good experience, I believe the CGPA matters less. I applied for Fulbright twice. I first applied right after graduation from NUST. I did my bachelor's from NUST, so I got a GPA of like 3.2 something. I applied right after for Fulbright right after my graduation. The next year, it was 2017. I didn't get in. I believe it was because like I couldn't justify a lot of things. Plus, like my GPA was low too. Uh, After like 5 years of work experience in the civil services, I was much better prepared for Fulbright. So I applied a couple of years ago, like in 2020. I applied in 2021. So, and then this time I got it. So if you have, I believe if you have a good work experience that complements your GPA, and GPA doesn't matter a lot then, but like minimum CGPA of education, I believe education, PhD, I guess someone will answer that. I don't know. Okay, so let's do now. Okay, it's 3:30 already. The algebra question. So like it's very easy. So we are given two equations: minus 3x plus 6y equals 5, minus 2x plus 5y equals -1. Column A asks x minus y, or column B is -5. One solution to this is which one is greater. So one solution is you solve these two equations, you get x, you get y, You subtract them and get an answer. The other question, the other solution is just by looking at them, you see if you subtract these, you get an x minus y. So if you, moving forward, okay, if you subtract equation minus 2x plus 5y equals minus 1 from the other equation, the answer is x minus y, and it comes out to be minus 6. So minus 6 is less than minus 5, so answer is B. So this is less like tricks, and it's easier. Another practice example that we'll do is like, say, for example, this is like a word problem. Ali is 4 times as old as Vakas. The names can be different. So like Usman is 3 years younger than Vakas. The sum of their ages is 81. Column A is Vakas's age. Column B is 30. So if you translate it, say like X is Usman's age, and Vakas is Usman is 3 years younger than Vakas, which means Vakas is 3 years older. So X plus 3 is Vakas's age, and then Usman Ali is 4 times as old as Vakas. So like translating that, 4 multiplied by X plus 3 is Ali's age. You add all of them and comes out to be 81. From this, you can do X, you can calculate X, which comes out to be 11. So X is 11. This is not your answer. So like if 11 is Usman's age, the question asks Waqas' age. So Waqas' age would be X plus 3, which is 14. So the answer would be A. Column A is greater. So like these things are really important because like in GRE, what matters is like they'll be playing with your mind, right? So the answer might be right in front of you. It might be too easier. It might be like it's just like one small thing that you forgot to do. So like here, if you calculated x equals 11 and you ticked B, the correct answer is column B, 13. But like you didn't see that is Usman's age and not Vakas's. That can be a small problem that can cost you. So the most important thing when you're taking a GRE exam is be very vigilant, because there'll be like small things that matter here. The question sometimes is easier, but like you are in a hurry. So clock's ticking. The main thing, the main issue with GRE is like we've got 1.7 minutes per question, and the clock is ticking. There are some easier questions, there are some medium, and then there are some difficult questions. You don't want to spend too much time on difficult ones, because each question you get same marks. So like do the easier ones first, skip. You can skip and come back. You can flag those questions that you don't answer, you can't answer, and you can come back to them. So like skip those that are very difficult and then come back to them and do the easier ones first. This is really important. Time management is the only skill that matters when you're taking a GRE. And okay, before I move on to geometry, I'll see the 9 questions that we got. As Fulbright due date is March 2025, it's not 2026, but the process takes a whole. So yeah, so the Fulbright due date is March 2025. The process does take a whole year. So like you will be going in 2026, obviously. Yes, you're right. This is how the process works. So with good academic grades and good extracurriculars, free internships, what managers are being selected. Perfect. So you're a final year law student. These are the things that matter. So like the whole application matters, right? You got good grades, you're good in extracurriculars, you're good in internships. You'll get into all of them. So I got into great schools. I graduated from University of Chicago, which was in fourth in public policy in the world. I got into Carnegie Mellon. I couldn't get into MIT, unfortunately. So but if you're looking for any good school, Fulbright will definitely, Fulbright encourages all great schools. Okay. And with all those things, you can get that. What resources we suggest to prepare GRE? So I'll talk that about in the end, preparation and like the resources and everything. Hopefully, if we get time. How many questions? So like there are 2 sections in quant, Varda. All the sections are graded. Yes, this is the new GRE. All the sections are graded. There are 2 sections in quant, and 2 in verbal. Perfect. Let's move. Let's move to geometry, and then hopefully at the end I can answer a couple of more questions. Uh, Sorry for that. Like my phone has to keep ringing. I'll answer a couple of more questions at the end, and then hopefully I can share the methodology. And not only that, I can also share um, what resources should you use. Okay. In the last workshop, we were told that the application deadline is March. Admissions will take place in August. Okay. So the thing is, application deadline is March. They'll get back to you if you're selected in August, September, something like that, or probably in July. And then like you have to go for interview, and then the whole process starts. So if the deadline is March 2025 and you get Fulbright, you will be going to US in September or August 2026. Okay. Geometry. So geometry is like lines, angles. You need to know like what are perpendicular lines, parallel lines, angle measures and everything, triangles and their properties. You need to learn these things by heart because like it's the time in GRE is really like it's really important. Circles, all those formulas of radius, diameter, circumference. So it's not like in GRE they'll ask you what is the sum of angles of triangle. No, this is the sum of angles of triangle will be part of a larger question. So like you need to master these small skills and formulas to answer a big question. Polygons and their formulas, obviously coordinate geometry. So like coordinate geometry, you get it if you really perform really well. Okay, so let's do a practice example of that. So like let's suppose there are like 3 points A, B, and C. One is 0, 0, which is the center. Uh, the other one is B, 0, 4A minus 5, C, form a triangle. And if the angle B is 90 degrees, what is the area of triangle ABC? So if you do this, and then this is like where you select one answer from these. So you need to find the area of the triangle. So like if you graph these, you can see that 0, 0 is at the center. B04A minus 5 can be on the y-axis anywhere in the on the top or at the bottom. If A is negative, probably like here we're supposing that A is positive. And then since like at C will be here somewhere because at B there is a right angle triangle. So B and C will be in a straight line, right? So this is the right angle triangle at B, which is why you can see that the y-axis coordinate of B and C will be same. So 4A minus 5 equals 2A plus 6. Why? Because this is a straight line and y-axis will have same values. So you just write this equation, you solve for A, you get 5.5. You plug in that, you get B point as 0 and 17, which means the length of AB is 17. You get point C as 12 and 17, which means the length of BC line is 12. Now for area, it's 1/2 into base into height, which means your base and height are 12 and 17. Divided by 2, you get 102. So the answer is A. Pardon me. Okay, before I move into data analysis, I guess I'll finish the data analysis. It's just a couple of questions, and then I'll move on to tips and tricks and Q&A tips and tricks, and we can do how to prepare for GRE. Okay, and then obviously you can answer more questions. So the data analysis portion involves, so you'll get a couple of questions or probably like one question from data analysis. If you do really well in the first section, you'll get a lot of data analysis questions probably. So data analysis is really like, it's difficult, takes time. If you do really well, you'll definitely get this portion. First portion is medium difficulty for everyone. So like you'll have some easier, some difficult questions for everyone. Second portion is according to how you perform in the first portion. Okay, hope that's easier. Stats questions, some median, mod, mean questions, standard deviation probability is there, uh, basic probability questions, not a difficult ones, data interpretation. There can be some bar graphs, line graphs, pie charts. So like I've taken GRE just like a couple of times, but like in my second time, there were like so many bar graph questions and line graph questions. So like it can be from like you can expect anything from GRE. Like it all depends. Like it's a percentile thing. So like you're sure that every one of other candidates will be getting that difficult questions too. Okay. So let's just do this easy question. Triangle A has sides with length 5, 5, and 8. Triangle B has sides with length 8, 8, and 5. Okay, column A is average mean of three angles of triangle B. Column B is average mean of three angles of triangle A. So now just like look at this question. One column A has things for triangle B. Column B is asking about triangle A. So this can be one thing of a confusion. Number one. Number two, you just look at this question and you start calculating the angles. Like you draw a triangle and you're seeing like how much length it is, but like you don't understand the question. Like it's asking for three angles of triangle. And then you just realize that no matter what, the sum of angles of a triangle is always 180 degrees. This basic thing can solve this question in a second. So like you can spend like 10 minutes on this and don't know, or like you can spend a second on it and you see that three angles of a triangle, the sum is always 180 degrees. So the answer for both of these is average of three angles would be 60 degrees. So 60 your answer for both A and B, and the answer is C. The two quantities are equal. Okay. So like you need to learn like for GRE quant section, you need to know some of these basic math principles. Tips and tricks, let's go into that and hopefully we can I can talk more about from where to prepare, what are the different sources, and obviously, if you have any other questions, we can about Fulbright or GRE in general, happy to answer that too. So tips and tricks for the quant section. Number one would be like you need to know the divisibility rules. Say, for example, if the sum of integers digits is divisible by 3. So like say, for example, there's a long number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 1, 2. I said a long number. Is it divisible by 3? Yes. Why? Because the sum of these numbers, each individual number is divisible by 3. So let me write into chat. Say, for example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 3, 2, 1. This long number, is it divisible by 3? Yes. Why? Because the sum of these is divisible by 3. So these are like, same goes for 4, right? So like if the last two digits of the number are divisible by 4, say for example, there's a long number. So, and then the last two digits are 44. This is divisible by 4? Yes. Why? This is this is divisible by 4. 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is divisible by 3. Why? Because like the last two digits are divisible by 4 for the above number that I wrote. So these are like, does this come like that into GRE? No. It is, like I mentioned, a thing like if it's a long question, this is one part of that. So you need to know these tips and tricks. The other thing is like calculating square for like a really long number. Like if there is thing comes up like you need to square a number which has 5 at the end, you can simply do this trick, which is you square 5, which is 25. It comes at the end, and then you just multiply the number with the number that comes next to it. The something question comes up. This is where like there is a difficult quantity like 20a divided by something equals 10a. which means like 20, this means that 28 divided by any something that is only making it is equals to 2, right? Because the answer comes out to be 10a. So this means that 10 minus 5 multiplied by b multiplied by c would be something equaling to 2. So just like this, in quick way, you can solve this. And then there is a lot of estimation that is necessary for quant, but only where it works. Say, for example, if there is a box that costs 5.1 rupees, one box costs 5.1 rupees, and how much, there's a question that asks how much does 495 boxes cost? So if you just like multiply 5 by 500, multiply by 5 into 500, you get 2500, right? That is, your answer is close to 2500, right? If you have answers in that are like 2000, 2500, 3000, 4000, you know it's anywhere close to 2500. But if your answers are like 2490, 2500, 2510, 2520, then you don't know, right? So only use estimation where it works. Okay. So Acha, last, some more tips and tricks and what I used, I can mention that. What I did was, so I used a lot of resources, but ideally, you shouldn't be spending more than 1 to 2 months on GRE preparation. Because the thing that's gonna really matter in Fulbright is your whole application, and a focus will be on uh, SOP, statement of purpose, and study objectives specifically. And then GRE also comes in, but plays a smaller role. I prepared from, like, if once you register for GRE, there is an ETS book that is given to you by after registration. You can study from that. Then there are a lot of books in the market like Manhattan, Princeton. You can study from that. You can like buy new ones. You can get these books from old bookstores too. Nothing about the pattern and structure of GRE has changed, but the question types and the number of marks per question hasn't. So like if you even take previous materials, you can prepare from that. If you have old books, you can prepare from that. Manhattan, Princeton has some good books. And then an easier way would be like getting a subscription of Magoosh, Scholars Den. There are a lot of subscriptions out there that you can get, and they help you create a schedule. Like if you can study, like give 2 hours each day, they'll create a schedule for you. It all depends, like how much time can you give, and like how much time do you have, and like how are you, like how much time are you willing to give that. I'll say just like get it, like I use that approach of like get it over with just like couple of months, because like I have a really busy job, so like I can't spend a lot of time on GRE. So like I just gave it a couple of months, probably like 1 month, I guess. And then like my math wasn't that excellent, even though I was an engineer. Good GRE scores are important. GRE is not the only thing that matters. This question is really clear. Okay. My questions are not, yeah, Abdul Bari, your questions were really like logistic and difficult ones. You can email USEFP. How many scholarships, Shiraz? The things they vary each year. So like each year the scholarships vary anywhere from like 150 to 80 something. It depends upon like how much people are being sponsored, like how it all depends upon the sponsors, the number of scholarships. Okay, so this is my last slide as my email, LinkedIn. So like if you have any further questions, shoot me an email. I can't I can't say I'll be quick to answer. I'm really sorry. I can I'll answer as soon as I can. But like yeah, I'll try to answer any queries that I get. For like, but like if you have more queries, I'm like super. I know like Education USA and USCFP are like super helpful. They've been there. I was a U grad before getting Fulbright and before CSS and everything. I went on U grad scholarship too, and USCFP are really like helpful. Uh, to answer all of your queries and everything. So they try their best to answer all of your questions, clear all of your queries, and like any administrative or any other questions are most welcome from them. And this is question about should I do it eventually? I don't know. Like it depends. Like depends personal choices. I don't know. It all depends. Like what you're looking to achieve from your life. So I don't know. Like I did both. I don't know. Okay. Okay. So any other like if I don't know if there's an option to just like raise hand and ask uh, on the video too. Like if you have any other questions, please do. Like we have last 9 minutes, I guess. So yeah, you can ask if the administrators allow you to. I'll stop sharing my screen. Osama Abbas. Yes. I don't know if you can like uh, can we take a question like face to face or do we need to do it in the chat? I don't know.
In the Q&A preferably. So if there's
Yeah.
any people who were instructed to ask their questions at the end, we have 8 more minutes of this
Yeah.
webinar left. So ask away.
How long before the deadline should you apply? That is a really good question. I applied like 5 hours before. Your choice. It doesn't matter. Apply tomorrow, apply today, apply on the last day. It's the sooner the better. But like it doesn't matter. Like whenever you're done with your application, you can apply. Is there any syllabus for preparation? So yeah. So like all these things that I went through, uh, these things are the things that like come up in GRE. It is there in all the books and all the preparation material that I mentioned. So that is the syllabus that you got. Anonymous attendee at what time gets selected for by supposed to travel to US. So like if you apply next year, you'll be leaving for US in 2026 around August, September. What's the criteria for reimbursement waiver for those who cannot afford? That's a good question. So like I remember USEFP does reimburse for people who are selected for GRE, but like you need to ask USEFP that. Uh, they do it for some people on first come first serve basis, if I'm not wrong. Age bracket for selection, that is simply I don't if there's an age bracket mentioned in the Fulbright brochure, that's okay. If not, I don't believe there is. Like look at the brochure. If there is mentioned, that's okay. In what period of time does GRE announce results? That's a good question. So like it is right after GRE, you get to see your scores on the screen, but like formal results take 8 to 10 days. So I'll say like if you're planning to take GRE, take it before February or in February earlier so that you can get your scores before the Fulbright deadline. How getting into universities works for Fulbright? Good question, Shazib. That's Fulbright gives you an option and works their academic placement team in USA works with you and you get to give them your preferred universities and they and you basically ponder with them and work together to apply to these universities. So like if you get Fulbright, you'll definitely get into universities. How can we give GRE test? Is it required as when no, like GRE is you have to give it, you have to take GRE yourself. So like you need to register on the ETS website, you need to register it yourself. No, like Fulbright needs your GRE scores. They so like you need to do it yourself. Uh, uh, and it is so like when you're applying for Fulbright, you need to have your GRE scores in hand. Yes, you need to have your GRE scores at the time of application. I don't believe you can submit it later. uh they usually give some time at the end, but like it's like 3 months in the application closes in 3 months. That's a good time to take GRE and share scores. What is the minimum score? Again, I just mentioned it does yours. The minimum threshold is for certain areas, not for everyone. I know people who had 286. This is like the minimum score I've heard. 280. I know people with who got Fulbright with 280. So like don't worry about the minimum score. Just like take the GRE with good preparation. How long before the deadline should we? So like you can if you want to March 5th, but like then there's a big hassle of like reporting those scores, and then you need to collaborate with Fulbright to when you receive those scores officially, you need to send them. It's a big hassle. It's 3 months. Why do you want to take it on the last day? The same day, like you need to report them and you need to prepare your application. That's a long process. I don't recommend taking it like at the very end. Can you share time management tips? So like it doesn't matter, like section doesn't matter, like it all, you need to be quick, you need to go real fast, and like as soon as you start preparation, uh I think you'll be on top of things. You need to learn these basic concepts of like all these skills, and hopefully you'll be like on top of things in a short while. And don't worry, like if you need to guess, do guess, don't leave any other questions. But like if there is some difficult question, just like flag it and come back to it. Don't spend too much time on one question. Whom should we seek reference letters from? Can be employer, can be anyone. Like if you have uh, 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 they mention it in that application too. Like I took one from university lecturer and two from professionals. It can be three. Like if you're just graduated, Pawan, if you just graduated, you can take all three from university lecturer. Like you, that's perfectly fine. If you've been working for a long time, you can take from professionals too. Work experience increases chances of winning this award. I don't know. I don't think so. It all depends on like your whole application. So like if your application is good enough right after graduation, you've been a great student, you've done some great internships, you've done some great research and extracurricular, you're good for Fulbright. It doesn't matter. Fulbright suitable for special persons. Okay, that is an administrative question. I don't know. You need to ask USEFP if they allow personal assistant there. I don't know about that. What is the procedure of applying for GRE? Yeah, you need to go to ETS website, register for GRE. So it's online too. You can look, like you can just type in Google or in YouTube of applying for GRE. It will be really helpful. How many candidates for Fulbright? It all each year candidates vary all the way from like 150 to like 80. I don't know. Depends upon sponsors and how much like each year each sponsors uh, like vary. Is it necessary for Fulbright to also give Duolingo or so like once you are selected for Fulbright and you're through, you are a principal candidate, then Fulbright will ask you for these questions of TOEFL and GRE. That is the last stage. Please repeat the answer if you have answered my question. I got it. Shiraz, I don't remember the question. If you can ask the question again. Is there negative marking? No. Good question. There is no negative marking in GRE. Answer each questions. Take a guess if you want. No negative marking. While shortlisting universities, should we select universities of multiple tiers? Good question, Shazib. Depends. Like uh, once you get to work with your academic placement team, they'll guide you. Like you can have all great universities too. If you have a good profile, you can have one lower tier, one middle tier, one high tier university. If you have that profile, all depends on once you're selected, and then these things come up. Should we use some reference books or practice online? Uh, like both work. Like if you are, I am not a bookish person. I just did online practicing like through Magoosh and Scholars Den. But if you are into books, if you can study books, go for them. Yeah, they're really helpful. Besides GRE, I answered that. Duolingo and TOEFL, you don't need that for Fulbright. If you are applying directly, I guess you need them. Can you email your SOP? Okay, I'll skip that. Uh, uh, how many references do we need? Like it's mentioned on the application, two and three probably it is mentioned on the application. If I don't get Fulbright, is GRE helpful in getting direct admission? Good question. Definitely. GRE is really helpful, Osama, in getting direct admission. This is like if you're applying directly, highly encourage you to take GRE and like TOEFL. Like these are things that are needed in most of the universities, if not everyone. Are there other scholarships in US that require GRE? GRE is required in most of the universities in US. So like if you take GRE, that's a really good. It's really important if you are planning to go to the US to take GRE. GRE is valid for 5 years, if I'm not wrong. If something has changed, I'm really sorry. You need to check again. But like I took it a couple of years ago. It was valid for 5 years then. I'm sorry if something has changed. Guide about analytical writing assessment impact on score. Shiraz, that was the question. There is no impact. So like analytical writing assessment is separate. It has a separate score from like 1 to 6. It does not impact your score of 340 of GRE. So just some online resources. There is Magoosh, there is Scholars Den. I know about these two. But like if you Google or if you watch some YouTube videos, I'm definitely uh, you'll definitely get a lot of good answers on GRE preparation. Okay.
All right. And with that, I think we have to wrap it up now. Um, Thank you very much, Taimoor, for taking out the time today for this very productive session. Before I close it off, I would like to let everyone know that if you had questions which were not answered today, you can email info@usefp.org. Any administrative related questions, if we are able to answer them, they will get answered on that email. Please note it down. That's info@usefp.org. Taimoor just pasted it in the chat, so you go ahead and copy that email address. Secondly, as you know, there is a verbal section to the GRE as well, and that workshop is tomorrow. So for all of you who want to get details and know how to go about the verbal workshop, register for tomorrow's workshop where we'll discuss the verbal section of the GRE with Taimoor. All right. As for slides and this presentation, this recording will be available on our YouTube page, the USEFP YouTube page, so you can access it there. It's not going to be up there immediately. It's going to be available within maybe 3 to 4 business days. All right. So give us time, check back maybe till next week, and this recording will be there on the USEFP YouTube channel. All right. Taimoor, I'd like to thank you once again for taking out the
Yeah.
time.
No.
Really
Thank you so
appreciate
much.
it.
Thanks a lot, Education USA, and thank you, USAFP, for this opportunity. Yeah, it was. I'm sorry for the hindrance. I had to read from my office, so but like, yeah, it was a pleasure guiding these people, and hopefully, yeah, we get to collaborate more. Thank you so much. Thank you again.
It's
See
our
you tomorrow.
pleasure. Thank you so much. See you tomorrow, hopefully, everyone. Have a great evening. Goodbye, everyone.